All right, good evening. We'll call our meeting to order at 6:05. Just a reminder on public comment, those that would like to make a public comment this evening, if you would use the superintendent at STGRSD.org email address. And there are two different public comment sections in the agenda in which we will read those emails. Okay. We've got a lighter crew this evening. Attendance-wise for the committee, we have Pam, Chelsea, John, Ryan, and myself. We do not have Mr. Locke and we do not have Mrs. Seven. Okay, secretary's report. So in your packet, you should have a secretary's report dated October 20th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion to accept those meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Anybody on the committee have any questions about those meeting minutes? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote to approve those meeting minutes. Pam?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0. Warrant articles are out. Please sign them and return them if you haven't already.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mr. Presnell. I just want to say the accounts payable warrant will be emailed tomorrow. We're keeping to our Tuesday schedule for finalization of that document. So if folks could keep an eye out for that, we appreciate a quick response on signing and returning. Thank you.
Correspondence.
I do not have any correspondence this week time.
Okay. It's time for our first public comment. I will ask Amy to check the superintendent email account.
Okay, Chairman Houle, I do have one public comment from Robert Stevenson, Southwick, Massachusetts. He says, "Good evening, school board committee members and Superintendent Willard. I wanted to take this opportunity to once again request that this board take proactive action to set up a process that would allow as much data to be available to the school board when making important decisions. This would ensure that when the decisions need to be made concerning winter and spring sports participation in the upcoming months, that they would not be rushed into making a decision or not having an opportunity to ask questions and receive answers in a timely manner. When the town of Palmer first denied the participation of their fall sports team for the fall schedule, their school board created a subcommittee to look into and gather all relevant information on the subject so that a thorough presentation could be provided to the board in order for them to make an informed decision. After this investigation was completed and presented, the board weighed the pros and cons and allowed their children to play. Our school board policies contain the same opportunities available to our board members to request this same process be created. All we need is one of you to bring this request up during the new business section of this meeting this evening and ask for a subcommittee or an advisory board be created to allow a team to collect and make a presentation to the board. This would enable the board to have all relevant information to be collected by multiple sources and summarized into a report that they can consider. I am not requesting this because I think that it would guarantee the same results as Palmer. I am requesting this because my hope is that as members of this board that are supposed to represent these communities, that you do everything in your power to make sound decisions about topics that affect the children of this school. I also hope that you would want to ensure that you had all the information at your disposal and not rely on receiving this information from one source. The decision about the district's participation in sports is an important subject to these communities that you represent. During this election season, that is ending tomorrow, this situation has reminded many members of our communities that we are the ones that elected you to these positions. You took an oath to make decisions that are in the best interest of our children. I'm hoping you honor that oath and establish a process to allow you to make an informed decision. Don't waste this opportunity. Bring this topic up at the new business section of this meeting tonight. The student athletes are counting on you. The voters will be watching to see who steps up to the plate. Don't let us down. And that concludes the first public comment section for the evening.
No student advisory.
I will tell you for student advisory, Mr. Pescatelli said that they just held student elections. And so I believe they are going to have some names for students to participate in the school board meetings. I think Mr. Pescatelli said sometime this week he would be able to notify us.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, no educational presentations this evening. No policy reviews this evening. Moving on to action items.
Move to approve the superintendent's goals for the 2020-2021 school year recommended.
Sorry. So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions on the superintendent's goals? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the Southwick Towling Granville Regional School District Strategic Plan 2020 through 2023 recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the district strategic plan? Okay, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the agreement between the Southwick Towling Granville Regional School Committee and Jared Maple for the period October 26, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this contract?
Am I correct that this is the technology position?
This is not a teaching position. This is the additional person that we needed that the school committee approved for computer network support.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the 2021 school year Southwick Regional School fundraiser SRS yearbook online shopping through Shutterfly store recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this fundraiser? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0.
Move to approve the home education proposals HS-2021-74 through HS-2021-76 recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on these home ed proposals? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 500.
Move to accept the generous donation of school supplies from Ocean State Job Lot via the Southwick Police Department, valued at approximately $500, recommended.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this donation?
Where is it just going to be distributed throughout all of our schools?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 500. Okay, moving on to reports. Up first is the superintendent.
Thank you, Chairman Hool. I first am going to report out on our COVID numbers. At Woodland School, we have had 46 negative tests. We still with just the one positive. At Powder Mill School, we've had 49 negative tests with 0 positive. At the regional school, we've had 38 negative with 1 positive. And we did report today that we do have a positive member of our school community who is not associated with any one school. So I wanted to share that. Again, working closely with our Board of Health and our public health nurse. I also want to share that although our school district does remain in the green or the gray, a lot of the communities around us are going to red, which means that they're having a much higher rate of COVID spreading in their towns or their cities. We also have an MOA with our teachers union that we drafted over the summer. And it was part of our reopening plan. And it's a really important document because what it does is it ensures that the safety of our staff members were met with, and it was a real collaborative process. I also want to let you know, and I'm proud to say that we were one of the first school districts to be able to get a reopening plan reported to the state. We have the highest percentage of in-person learning in Western Mass. And we were one of the first school districts to have an MOA passed, which really speaks to the collaborative nature of our school district. When we drafted it in early August, and we redrafted it with the best information that we had at the time. At that time, we did not have the state metrics that we now currently report out weekly on, where we look at to see if our school community is in the green or the red or the yellow. So I do want to let everybody know that it was a collaborative effort. And on the MOA, which is what we call it, a memorandum of MOU, memorandum of understanding, it does have on there that if Hampden County does get to a 3% positive rating, that our school district will go remotely. Now, that is a legal document. It is a binding document. It does not mean that we have a spread of COVID in our schools, but it is a document that we did agree to with our teachers union. I do want to also report that although we have very low COVID numbers and we've had no cases to date where COVID has been connected to our schools, we are going to be working with our teachers union on reopening the MOA to look at renegotiating some of the terms. But that is a process and that does take time. So I have nothing to report except that the MOA that is passed was a collaborative agreement. It was agreed upon by our school committee, myself, and our teachers, and it was written with the best intent in mind, with the best information that we had at the time. So I just want to let people know that in the MOA, as it stands right now, it does say if Hampden County goes to 3%, we will be switching to remote. And I do want to let parents know that now, that although our numbers are great, I have to give you the most current information that I have, and I try to be as transparent as possible. So I do want to share that tonight.
Jen,
Yes.
question about the numbers that you shared in the beginning, your number of negative,
Yes.
your number of positive. Are those numbers that were obtained based on parent reporting or based on information from the health department?
It's a combination of both. Our nurses work directly and they are confirmed through the Maven. So that she can check, but due to HIPAA reasons, I don't know the names of everybody. So I don't know who specifically was reported. It's the nurses work directly with the Board of Health. So it's a combination of the negative tests are mostly probably parent reported or the staff reported, because in order to return, they have to have a negative test.
Okay, thank you. And how frequently are you updated with that information?
So the numbers that I reported out to you right now, they are current as of last Wednesday. Our nurses asked us to give them the time because a lot of the tests we're taking some time to do. So Wednesday, they determined was the best day to give the most current data. I am in constant communication. I don't get the number of negative tests, but I get the report immediately of a positive COVID connected to the schools.
And I want to thank you publicly for the letters that you send out to the entire school community when there is a positive case. And also I want to thank you for you as well as the entire school district for their continued effort with regard to maintaining health and safety protocols. I feel very safe having my children in the school, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Our teachers have been, and our nursing staff and our custodians and our paraprofessionals and our principals have been absolutely amazing. And we all know that it's the clerical staff that keeps things functioning on the front line. So it is really a village that is keeping us together right now. So it's all of them. I want to move on to, we've gotten some concerns that I've spoken to some parents regarding transportation with the windows being down. I do understand that it is an inconvenience. It was great when it was beautiful fall day and we had the windows open, but we have had some rainy weather. We've had some snowy weather and we've had some cold mornings. So I've reached out to the Lower Pioneer Valley Educational Collaborative last week, and I spoke with the director over there and asked him if he could work on putting out a message to our parents about what extreme weather conditions are and what they can expect when their children do ride the school bus. I did follow back up with him today because I hadn't received anything and I didn't believe anything was sent out. And he told me that he does have a meeting set up tomorrow to speak with some of his employees and to try and come up with a collective definition of what extreme weather conditions are. We have to remember these are working conditions for some employees, and we have to make sure that we're keeping them safe as well. So I will have more information to come on that, but I can tell you that he is aware of it and he is working on it, and he hopes to have a letter out to families about what they can expect. I was kind of holding off because we were waiting for further guidance from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. We haven't received anything. I had a call today with the commissioner and he didn't speak to it. So the director is going to be moving forward with his employees to get a collective definition to report out to the parents. Is there any questions on that? Okay. I want to move on to say that last Thursday, we were supposed to have our NHS award ceremony and a junior award ceremony for the book awards. And we were also giving out the Richard Atkinson Scholarship. Due to the resurgence of COVID and the spiking numbers, we worked with the Board of Health and we went to the decision that we could only have a certain number based on the phased opening guidelines in an in-person ceremony. We were only able to give out the Richard Atkinson Scholarship given out yearly by Mr. Steve Nielsen, who is a graduate of Southwick High School back in the early 80s. I don't want to give his age away, but I also want to let you know that every year he gives out one scholarship to one student that meets certain criteria. This year, he met with 4 finalists with a panel, and he really felt that due to the COVID pandemic and what the children were experiencing at this time, and that it was the 20th anniversary of the Atkinson Scholarship, and he said, and due to having a good year, he graciously, generously, humbly handed out 4 scholarships to the 4 finalists that were Anastasia Antropova, Autumn Fraley, Caitlin Hazeltime, and Adam Smith. All received the Atkinson Scholarship by Mr. Nielsen. It just speaks to our community. It speaks to our kids about what it means to give back to our community. And in a time of uncertainty and darkness and a lot of stuff being taken away, it was a life lesson right there that they got to see that even in the worst of times, there are bright moments and bright people who really can make a difference in your life. And I can't thank Mr. Nielsen enough for his generosity and for giving back yearly, but this year to give out 4 scholarships is just above and beyond. And I was beyond touched. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, I will move on finally to on Saturday. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just didn't get a response and I didn't know if my computer went out. On Saturday, I was part of the Trunk or Treat, which was a community event held by the Southwick Civic Fund. Again, it was an absolutely, I don't even know the word I could use. My mouth was in awe as the car started at 3 o'clock and there was a constant, and when I say constant, I don't mean there was spaces in between them or moments of waiting. There was a constant stream of cars and families driving through the regional school as all different members of our community handed out candy so the children of Southwick, Talon, and Granville could have an amazing Halloween. The chief of police was there, the fire chief, the select board members were there. It was quite a family event and also a school event because it was great to see our students there giving back to the community. And of course, I got to be right next to the Santa trunk or treat, and they were playing Christmas music. So all the kids were all confused as they drove through, but it was a great day. I'd just like to thank everybody who put it on. I know Joe Didi, select board member, did a lot to get this up and running, and his efforts did not go unnoticed. And it was a great day and a great day for our community. So thank you. And that is all I have tonight.
Okay. Moving on to the Director of Finance and Operations.
No report this evening, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll move on to subcommittees and liaisons. Okay, starting with negotiations.
you want me to talk, Jonathan?
Oh yeah, I'm the only one that was,
Yeah.
or no, Chelsea's on it too. Yeah, I mean, I can just say we went over. Well, I guess Jen, you can reiterate that we've looked at some of the paraprofessional stuff, the cafeteria stuff, and custodial. Were those the three? There were 3 or 4 things that we've got in the works.
The clerical, custodial, paraprofessional, yes. And then we looked at the 2 personal service agreements.
You folks have dates set?
Working on them. We do have a date set. Sorry, Jonathan, with the paraprofessionals.
No, go.
We're still working on dates for the other 2.
Okay. Finance, we reported out at the last meeting. LBEVEC, Board of Directors and Governors. Pam, do you have anything to report out on?
Well, yes, at our last meeting, we discussed the request by the LPVEC instructors to bring back our LPVEC CTEC students 5 days a week. They are currently 4 days a week, and the request, because it is such a hands-on program, was to bring them back 5 days a week. At the time, the board voted yes, but that it would not go into effect until term 2, which begins halfway through November, and that at our next meeting, we would revisit the issue depending on what town metrics look like. So, you know, we are starting to see town metrics change. We're starting to see some changes with regard to, you know, comfortability with having kids in the district or in the schools, excuse me. So you know, this isn't a done deal, but it does have the support of the committee if the health and safety professionals and the sending districts are all behind it. And that's all.
Any questions for Pam? We do have a joint board meeting on the 18th at 6:30. Both the directors and governors are going to be meeting to listen to the annual report.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, policy subcommittee.
I believe we're meeting, well, either tomorrow or Thursday.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try for Thursday.
Okay. Buildings and grounds, we have not had a meeting. Get something set up with Steve. Any other committee you want to report out on anything else?
Southwick 250th, we have a drive around on, oh gosh, what day is it? November. So there's instead of the big parade, there's going to be a drive around to some of the Southwick neighborhoods, and that will be posted, that route will be posted. But then on the same day, they are having a virtual picnic and hoping that town businesses can offer different specials for people to pick up food at their establishments and bring home and safely picnic at home. And then there's going to be a Southwick Spectacular broadcasted on Facebook and Channel 15 with different presentations, and the winner of the photo contest will be announced then too. So that's Saturday, November 7th.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to public comment. Time for our second public comment. Amy, if you would, please check the superintendent email account.
Okay, I'm just gonna refresh. And we have no additional public comment for this evening.
On to committee discussion. Anybody have any additional old business? Okay, new business. I did receive a request from a committee member to have a discussion about a sports subcommittee. So we'll put that on the table and folks can have a discussion about sports.
So Jen, you have some deadlines or some guidelines about dates that were going to come from MIAA, right?
Yes. So the latest that I heard was that they're looking at the MIAA getting information to us no later than November 9th. We know that's a tight turnaround. I've also had some discussions and just heard that there's the potential of the PBIAC, depending on what the MIAA guidelines are, moving out the winter season till after the beginning of the new year. Again, none of that is written in stone. It's just without the MIAA guidance, it's really difficult to move on. We know that some sports, we know we cannot have indoor track because we use the Smith College facility. So there are some things that we know already, but don't have any information at all from the MIAA on winter sports.
Okay, so at least to me, I don't know how everybody else feels. You know, there's nothing to discuss or start to figure out really until we get some guidance from them. And even when we do get guidance from them, if it's them saying you could have sports, we're not going to be starting until 2021 anyway. So I mean, it seems like we have plenty of time here.
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay. So I mean, from my end, I'm okay with waiting until.
So when is it that we need to vote again on the next season of sports? I'm sorry, I just missed.
That information's not out yet. Just like in the fall guidance, it came out and it gave us the starting date for fall sports. There's nothing definitive yet out from the MIAA, so it's pure speculation at this point.
So the question could potentially be, should we consider assembling a group before any guidance is out so that they are ready to leap into action, or should we wait and see what that guidance is before we assemble any group and put any extra dates on calendars until we kind of see where we can go with it?
I'm for the wait to see what they say, and then we can react to it. I think we've got plenty of time to react to it. I also sort of have this suspicion that it's going to be different than it was in the fall. Let's just say that. I don't have any basis to back that up, but just the way things seem to be trending. I don't know that even if we got the group, I don't think it would take us very long, one, to put a subcommittee together, and two, even after we do that, I don't think it's going to be a whole lot different than anything we would have done in the fall as far as getting, rules and stuff together for things. So I think we can manage it after.
If we do decide to get a subcommittee together now that we've discussed it in new business, would it be able to just be placed on a future agenda if or when, or would we have to bring it up in old business?
I believe we'd actually have to take an action item to
we'd have to vote on it, I think, right?
form a committee.
We could just put it into the action items section when it comes up.
Correct.
Okay. if or when it comes up, depending on what we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay.
And how
I
many?
assume, I assume our next meeting's the 17th.
I believe you are correct. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we could potentially, we'll know by then whether that could be an action item based on what we're seeing from for guidelines, I guess.
Correct.
I do appreciate the idea of having more people to go through the information and present the information, but then I also appreciate that the timelines are so speedy, and we just don't even know what we're going to be looking at that point in time. So all of that should be probably considered when we're closer.
Yeah, I mean, they really did put us in a pretty tough position the last time. I mean, but we can always try to to do better. So we'll give it a shot if they give us something that needs to be worked with or whatever, we can do it, I think.
All right.
Well, at least that's my feelings. I'm going to speak for everybody.
I think it's good to map out and see what would the process be if we're in the position that we could benefit from a committee or a subcommittee, and what the steps are that we'll have to take if or when the time comes. So many unknowns still.
This is just my opinion, but my feeling is that after going through this once with the fall sports, that the athletic director at this point has a better understanding of the committee's expectations of what we're looking for. You know, it's not just about the sport, it's both on and off the court, field, whatever. So I think that'll save some time, whereas last time we had questions that didn't get answered, that they weren't fully vetted at that point. It's just my 2 cents. All right, does anybody else have any more input on the sports subcommittee? I'll stay in tune with superintendent, and if the guidance is out, we will put together an action item and we can have further discussion and figure out what that's going to look like at the next committee meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Oh, we had a record going.
Oh, really quick one. I was just about the school buses that we were talking about, school buses, and the fact that we've had some communication go home about how will continue mask breaks outside, those kind of things. And I'm wondering, this has nothing to do with school committee, but it's on my mind, of making sure that our community and our kids have outside like clothing, coats. I know there's a giving tree going on, but just to make sure that that works, I don't know. That's on my mind, and I just didn't want to go without saying. I don't know where to go with that, but it's like you can't run out the door with like a half warm coat anymore. You kind of really need that good coat. So, with the requirements of our day. All right, that was it. You know, if there's anything I can do to help in that area, let me know.
Okay.
We can go.
I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we'll switch roles. Second.
All right, Pam,
Yes.
Chelsea,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Jeff is a yes. Motion passes 5-0-0. Thank you, folks. Have a great evening.